and let's get into it. It looks like this is a video from a Bodi hun. Now, they used to be Beach Body, and now they're just Body. And they went affiliate only, which I think is one of the more hilarious trends going on in MLM, because I used to say that I was a lifer in my MLM, and sometimes people have said that in their MLM, and then it shuts down. This looks like it was a screen recorded live video. The caption on hers says, "Oh man, I have so much to say on this."
All the same. It's all the same. All right, let me try to read through these comments because the kids are back from their walk, and good luck trying to go live with that. I saw this in 2019 when Avocare went to one level. All of a sudden, the Avocare products were not healthy, blah, blah, blah. I found out that relationships based on transactions are not real. Yeah, and you 100% got that feeling and emotion from all. I mean, she broke down. She didn't name names, but she doesn't need to. Everyone knows. It's been 9 months, like time to move on. Yeah, seriously.
I don't follow Beachbody or their people very closely or anything Advocare related. Advocare is one of those ones when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's there. Kind of like Mary Kay. Okay, she's an old girl, but all right.
Did they address health as a part of Make Wellness too now? No. So boyfriend is part of Make Wellness, and I think that's why they treaded lightly when it came to naming names. And I think that he handled it very well. You know, and he straight up said, like, the programs still work, the products, you know, like, if you have to constantly talk about your old business company to sell your new one, clearly a new one ain't it. Yep. It's been months and you have special. Oh, can't they move on? No, they can't, because they just can't move on. You can't come up here, Bubby. Ungrateful. Yep. These coaches worked off our backs. Ain't that the truth? And now they are in faster way workouts. Companies putting them on a pedestal. Yeah, well, it's just like Shackley. You know, that company's been around forever, and they're trying to...
Can we talk about how I thought it was Shakely, not Shackley? Because Shackley doesn't mean anything when you think about those words. But Shackley could be like... But Shakely could have been like some sort of attempt at like a cutesy spin on shakes, you know?
Do whatever they can to like get their name out there in a quote unquote positive way by using these faces from Beachbody to draw people in, because I mean some of their distributors are literally like in their 50s, 60s. So like that's a dinosaur just trying to beat extinction. What else? And the faster way is also restrictive. Well, people like what they're familiar with, right? So if you were on a restrictive plan with Beachbody, this should be seamless when you go to faster way, huh? Now claim the results are from their new products and companies. I know, it's such a freaking joke. I don't even want to address that at nauseam.
Okay, it sounds like she's saying people from this company went to this other company and are claiming the results are from the current company, not the previous one that may or may not have had a restrictive diet plan. I am not one for serious restriction. Like, I feel like it's unrealistic, and I'm not a doctor or any sort of professional, but it seems unhealthy to me, and I think that can get really dangerous really quick and take you down in more ways than just physically. I think that can affect you mentally pretty seriously, especially in the long run if you do decide to try to work out on a super restrictive diet. Sounds like a recipe for fainting in my case, so I won't be doing that. I certainly would never promote that either.
It was not restricted when they were selling it to us. That's a fact. Yep. But God told them to go there. Oh yeah, don't get me started on the ones that all of a sudden have found Jesus because their network marketing company, you know, is primarily a conservative movement. Don't even start on these grifters. These conservative.
Oh, I mean, she said it. And I might agree overall with that statement. It's one of my favorite things to point out, actually, when people claim that they found God in their MLM. Or was it shoved down your throat in every angle? But when you are participating in something like that, an MLM, and then you find religion, Jeebus finds you in a creepy closet somewhere, your prayer closet, in your MLM, it's not him bestowing this knowledge on you. It's whoever preyed on you and your situation. It's whoever got to you first with the ooh shiny of the new opportunity. No version of Jeebus I've ever heard of would condone joining an MLM. That's not what it is. That's just what you want to hear in your head. And you're just putting that in the Jeebus box when it actually doesn't qualify, because show me where Jeebus would have condoned that type of business model. I'm not seeing it. And I spend a great deal of time as a believer.
Network marketing grifters, where they're getting you, obviously y'all know who I am and what I stand for. And when I see, and it's not just a like a make wellness thing, I see other women who all of a sudden were, they were attending Trump rallies in 2016. Now they're black pillars. Like they just go with the flow with whatever.
What's the black pill? I'm scared. There's the blue pill people, the red pill people, and now there's a black pill. What is that? What does that mean?
Whatever shakes, right? And then when you leave, they don't talk to you anymore, right? But yeah, like all of a sudden people are.
That's not special to being any type of political party. That's just what happens when you join an MLM and then people leave. That doesn't happen in every case. That certainly didn't happen to me. The people, the connections that I really made, I really think there were only two. I didn't get like my relationships chopped off because I left. That's not how that worked. But I also didn't have a big impact on when it comes to money or my impact on the company. Like I was not making waves in the MLM I was in.
I'm Jesus, talking about him, like which whatever. It's very hard for me because I want to believe that people truly are following God for the right reasons, and I believe it is our job as Christ followers to educate everyone about the love of Jesus. So
it's not, and it's actually kind of sick and twisted, the fact that y'all think that everybody needs to hear it. It's the same line of thinking when you're in the MLM. It is the same to think that if you're not talking about these products all the time on your social media and you're not mentioning it when you feel like you could at the grocery store, you're holding it from people. If you're not offering it to them, you're keeping it from them. And that's the same line of thinking that she just mentioned. I know because I was taught to do it. This is the shit that they would talk about on team calls and when they're trying to motivate you to keep posting. You can't hold this from people. You can't keep this from people. How else are they going to hear about it? Even though these companies, well, not all of them, a lot of them, companies like Arbonne will throw up advertising and pay for it. Oliveda will throw up advertising on Instagram and Facebook and pay for that, but they won't pay you for advertising and making endless short form content, which is such a chore. I'm so glad I've taken a break from that because it's too much. I don't want to do it.
It puts me in a very difficult spot when I see people like monetizing off of his love, because God.
Well, is it really a problem when somebody does it in a way that I guess her and I can agree is unacceptable? Or is it also a problem when somebody's doing it in a way that's acceptable within the company and within what you believe about Christianity?
Gave us free will, and it's a privilege to accept him and know Jesus. And I honestly don't believe that these women do. A lot of them. I think it's for show.
I'm really glad she does have her wits about her to at least see this aspect, even if I think it's flawed that she would do this in her MLM and think it's okay to use the love of Jesus to sell her MLM products. But the way these people are doing it is wrong. And obviously we can't verify what people truly believe, but we can look at their behavior and their actions and see how they align with what we know or what we believe. And then we can kind of go from there, but there's really no way to know. I love to see Christians calling out other Christians, though. There literally cannot be enough of it. Please, more.
And for clicks. But that's my own opinion. I don't know it. I don't know their heart. I pray that their heart is in the right place. But when I know what these women have done, specifically, like I mentioned before, about being on the coach advisory board and knowing that this was coming, they just didn't know the day. Yet they still recruited. Yet they, come on. Oh,
it's wrong when any MLM has, or any top leaders in an MLM, or even I would take it as far as the corporate staff, recruits or puts out information like everything's fine, when they know the doors are about to close. I do think that's gross. And especially if you're recruiting. I think it's one thing to like still accept customers because the customers can still buy from the company somehow if it's not completely shut down, I'm sure. But when you're recruiting people to do the business with you, that is another level of dishonesty because you probably can't talk about it and be like, no, you just turn people away, all the hundreds of people flocking to your MLM and your DMs ready to join. You would have to tell those people, if you were following ethics and you were allowed to talk about it, you would have to tell those people, I wouldn't recommend it because this company's shutting down their MLM sphere. So I'm going to go over here. If this is something you feel like is cool, then you can come over here. That would make more sense. But I would assume that they probably can't do that because they probably either weren't supposed to know or there's some sort of legal something in the way. And I would understand that too. But if that was the case, stop recruiting quietly. Like just keep the reasoning to yourself and just stop recruiting personally. But if you have that knowledge and you're recruiting, that's gross.
I will talk about this and I will start to wrap this up. Because one of the things that I have never talked about, I don't even think I've talked about it on my podcast, I might have, is the fact that, so when back in fall of 2023, okay, when they talked about us going affiliate, my team had, like my big team, had a call that was for only the top tier leaders, okay? And on this call, because we knew that our income essentially was getting cut in half. This was like the first big announcement, okay? And for a reference point, like I with that first big change of them going to affiliate. This is not removing, not affiliate, excuse me, cutting the compensation plan, changing the compensation plan. Then they went to affiliate. So this was in 2023. When they changed the compensation plan, that affected my personal income. That was like when I tell you a really difficult time in life, because I had to financially plan. And those changes were effective like almost immediately. Unlike,
I kind of zoned out while she was talking, and then I zoned back in when she said something about a plan. It reminds me of the phrasing that you might have heard growing up, a man is not a plan, and a man is certainly not a plan, but also an MLM is not a plan. And she's literally explaining why. And no matter what MLM, any person she's talking about or herself, that these people could join next, that's also not the plan. That's also not something you can really count on or financially plan for because you are not in any sort of real control. Because not only are you easily expendable, you also are not the decider of shit that happens with the compensation plan. The products, the advertising you aren't allowed to do via compliance. You don't really make any decisions when it comes to being an entrepreneur in an MLM. You don't have as much power as you think. An MLM is not a plan. A man is not a plan. Boom.
when they got rid of the coaching network, they gave you like 3 months to plan. So my income went from being at that. I mean, it kept going down. Like I said, like there were highs and lows. No, like it was just. And she said she's like actually it was just low. Every year her income was getting less, just like as a distributor, mine was getting less. So I was a little shy of multiple six figures. That got cut in half. Now,
is that after expenses for your MLM in any way, shape, or form? Is that after or is that before? Because that would be the more interesting number.
you could say, "Oh, poor you," but things are relative, right? And it has a trickle down effect, and it affected my team, meaning like the people, my marketing team, meaning I had to cap like my VA at a certain amount of hours. I had to cut certain people from like I had to like do more work, so to speak, because I couldn't pay people anymore. I financially couldn't afford to have like this big marketing team. Like I had to prepare for that. And then, as you know, going into fall of 2024, I was like, well, I need to supplement my income, and that's when I officially went back into fall of 23. Sorry, my years blend. Fall of 23, I went back into the golf industry because I had my baby in 2024. So fall of 23. I promise, I'm circling back. Where's when you need her? So I was on this call with all these leaders, and they were livid. They were livid. They are crying. They are angry. They're dropping F-bombs. They are pissed at Carl. They're all the things. These are women that you know. They are women that you know, okay? The next day, there's another call. There's a separate call. And I intentionally got on the second call. Even though I knew the information, I got on the second call because I wanted to see for myself with my own eyes what the response would be. And you had women who the day before were trashing everything up sideways, crying because they knew like they wouldn't be able to afford their Porsche anymore and their lifestyle, like all the things, okay? And then the next day they're on the call rallying the troops and talking about how this is such a great change and that the...
And is this second call from corporate like the other one, or is this one just a team call where they're trying to like get everybody hyped up, maybe in hopes that everyone will buy what they're selling, so to speak, and come with them to the next company? I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just that might be the vibe.
affiliate model is gonna, excuse me, not the affiliate model, yeah, because they did kind of like do an affiliate thing too. That the changes to the compensation plan are actually going to be beneficial to you, and this is going to be a rising tide, raise all ships. And that was like one of my biggest aha moments, okay? Because I'm like, you phony, you know what? 24 hours ago, you were on a call, crying your eyes out, and now all of a sudden this is great news, and you're wearing body hats, and you're like wearing, your body.
Why are all the MLM hats so hideous? They're so ugly. And I think we would be hard pressed to see someone wearing that. Maybe they're a rep, but like wearing it as a fashion statement, not just for content or at conference.
Swag, and you're talking about how this is going to be great, and you're on the call and you're like, all right, we're going to help you, like this is going to help the people at the bottom, like you're finally going to be able to make money. And just,
this is exactly what happened when I was in at Works. The conference I went to, they announced, I think it was a bunch of bonuses that were maybe supposed to be easier for the lower ranking folks to achieve, but then there weren't amazing bonuses for higher leaders to shoot for. And I remember there was a lot of disappointment for those higher leaders in that there wasn't a bonus to help motivate them to reach that next level. So it's funny that a lot of what she's saying isn't unique to her MLM. It's just how MLMs are.
straight up lying. It was the most fraudulent thing I had ever seen, and I was like, I've never been more out in my life. And that was that. That's when I was like, nope, I cannot be a part of this. And as I've told you ad nauseum, like I couldn't in good conscience recruit to Beachbody.
And also come to some serious realizations about MLMs. And she does some speaking out about MLMs too, which I think is great. But also about her faith, which is great because I don't think there's enough of believers calling out other believers for piss poor behaviors.
I didn't talk about it. People would ask me if I was still doing it. And I just didn't want to talk about it anymore. Get that off your foot, please. I never made much of the business, but Beachbody, Beachbody did get me working on creating and eating better, and I always give credit from that. Where can I listen to the podcast? It's on Spotify, and I'm sure iTunes. Oh, and YouTube. Podcast is also on Apple Podcasts. Red Flag Me was a Zoom in. Yes, thank you. So was on the second call. She was on the we will get through this. I already have a plan for us. Are you referring to the one I was just talking about? So like I said, I was on both calls, and I saw these women freaking out, crying, screaming, like all the things, and then the next day they put on a happy face. Like, it's okay, like we'll help you. Let's see. And now they're making major claims about claiming to lower morbidity and using other health pain points outside of weight loss to sell their products. Yep. If I see one more thing about perimenopause and menopause, I swear, y'all, I can't. And then shame you when you don't sign up with them. They literally gave everyone a 3-month severance package. Yes, which is very generous. Some of these companies didn't do
that. Everyone got some sort of pay. That's not something I've heard of before.
That Modere didn't. Beauty Counter didn't. Mama. 1 minute, please. They did the whole weird body movement. Yeah, exactly. Get out of here. So, anyway, I probably should put this all in a podcast. No, the news. No, after the news of the Coach Network going away. Oh yeah, because that's what they do. They gaslight you, right? And they want to keep you in their trenches. And that's what I said. Like, we, people are like, oh, we lost our whole business, blah blah blah. And she said you had the choice. Now, granted, she even admitted, just like I did, like impact sucks. But like, they had the option to continue to promote the products, but as an affiliate. But these women didn't want to do that. They wanted easy out, and they wanted to go over to a new network marketing company and just bash where they came from. But like, you had the ability to download all of your customer lists, which is what these women did. They downloaded their CRMs, and then what did they do? They emailed all of those people like, "Oh, look, this is my new home. God opened this door for me." I was out after that. I was like, "You gaslight us to get on a call after this news, and now you're talking about this new opportunity." Yeah. And think about these women who are at the top of those companies. The information that they had prior, who they've aligned themselves with. And, some of these women don't talk to some of their former best friends anymore because they chose to go a different path. It's a transactional business, full stop. All right, I gotta go because this one, rightfully so. I will put more of this on my...
Wow. So that was really eye-opening, I feel like, even if you're not super familiar with a lot of the Beachbody to body drama and then like some sort of exodus going on, like I wasn't super familiar with it, but she dropped some serious information and I am very grateful for that. I'm also grateful that she was brave enough to speak out on these topics, and especially on the ones that like impacted her as well, like had a negative impact, because I think sometimes in when you leave an MLM, there's an element of shame of, oh, look, I got suckered into this thing that I can see so clearly, and I think most people can see so clearly that it's not all it's all cracked up to be. All right, so that is going to be it for this one. Thank you again to Pink Moon Witch for sending this to me. If you guys like this video, give it a like, poo. If you have commentary for the class, leave that down below and make sure you are subscribed so you get to see all of my videos. Thank you guys again, and I will see you in the next one.